All right, so welcome to the Peace and Mo Hair Grease podcast. This is episode number 5, where we're going to be discussing the Free Britney movement. Basically, we're talking about the documentary that was entitled "Framing Britney Spears," and we're just going to jump right into it. I had been reacting to Britney Spears songs. You know, I was doing some reactions, just kind of going back and doing like similar to what I was doing with the Backstreet Boys. And because back in the 90s, I really, just listened to the regular songs that came on, the popular ones, but I never got to dig deep into their albums. And likewise, Britney the same way. So I wanted to just do some different things. That's all. One of the things is, I like to be different when I'm doing different reactions. So I like to do all kind of different, listen to different music and genres and all that type of stuff. I've been expanding my palette. However, someone in the comment asked me to take a look at the documentary, just to understand what's going on more with this, the Free Britney movement and what's really been going on. Cause I didn't really know. I've heard little blurps here and there, back and forth, doing things, reading little articles here and there, looking on Twitter, stuff like that. But I didn't really delve into the whole thing. So I watched it, and it was a pretty good documentary. It touched a lot of the surface type things, I would say, but it was okay. As far as the quality of it, it was a good quality. Let me take that back. It was good quality. It reminded me of like an MTV documentary. That's what it gave me. So, I wanted it to go a little deeper since it was on, I believe, NBC, one of those things. But, you can only do so much when it's on, mainstream, when it's not really made behind the scenes. But, looking at it, they had the typical, child star growth. She grew up in a wholesome home, where everything was, hold on just a second. This is crazy. Yeah. Okay. Just trying to get the vibe right here. Okay. So basically she grew up in a, pretty decent home, as I should say, where they was talking about it. So, it wasn't like her upbringing or something was crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I did, enjoy seeing that part, kind of how she grew up. She was singing on, Star Search and, stuff like that. She was just a, normal little kid, talented little kid that, just like any other kid that just likes to do, or any other talented kid. And, she appeared to have a great set of, parents and a great upbringing. But then, as the talent, she was fortunate to have a family that really believed in her. So what they did was they, started pouring into her. And as the story, the Star Search, and then she started doing, she going to the mall, doing stuff. And, back then they had, like street teams. So everything was kind of like ground roots type things. And street teams were people that basically went out and, you see the rap vans. The vans wrapped with, like the artist stuff. And they was hand out different promotions, t-shirts, all this good stuff, all that type of stuff. And so the street teams was basically your marketing and promotions team that was out there on the ground for you. Now you can do everything here with Instagram and all social media and all those type of things. But back then they didn't have that. And so she would, go to the mall and be performing. And she started off with, doing the songs and, little crowd here and there. But then all of a sudden it just took. And, you had this, attractive young woman or a young girl, a young teenager at the time, and she was dressed like a schoolgirl. Now, you know how that reference is with schoolgirls, and they're doing this and that, and so a lot of men tend to see that, and young kids like to see that, and that's kind of like a fantasy type thing for many. But anyway, it is what it is. It's just everybody likes what they like. But, then she started to grow. So then here is after that, she did the video, and then boom, all of a sudden 11 million albums later, you have Britney burst in here. Now at the beginning it appears, she was taking care of business, doing what she was doing, very wholesome. She had a squeaky clean, and we all remember that. Squeaky clean, virgin, type, hey, I'm innocent type of, image. But as you know, the different songs you break down, and then she started talking about, I'm not that innocent, all that. And she started dating, Justin Timberlake and stuff, which was very hot at the time. They did mention at the time, they were, it was right in the middle of the male pop, explosion on the scene. So, NSYNC and all them, Backstreet Boys, which had been before NSYNC, but all the groups, it was the 90s and early 2000s. So you had a lot. It was just a beautiful time for music. So when they see this dominating, young lady come in here, captivating the minds of everyone, man, woman, child, teens, all in between, they started to say, wait a minute. And what they did, it was really, and, as a male myself, I know that there's a double standard with different things. And that was very evident. Some of the things that, we would get away with, they wouldn't. Excuse me, they'll be scrutinized. Women or females will be scrutinized for it. They were talking about her with I think it was with Matt Lauer. He might have asked her, but he just started going right in hey, you have this image of, this innocent little girl, but you're out here with your, basically her behind out, or no, he said with no clothes on, half naked or whatever. And she was like, I wouldn't say half naked. But I guess at that time everything was taboo, and it just started to be a little bit, more risque. But now it's like whatever it is, whatever goes, it goes. So, and they really did, they kind of bullied her. They did. Always talking about her image and all this type of stuff. I was just like, dang, wow, that's crazy. So then, like any other person, that was painted a certain way, that doesn't mean like they are. That doesn't mean they are that way. Prime example. I'll give you two examples. You got Christina Aguilera and you have Pink. Pink came right out and said, hey, I, basically did what I had to do. I proved myself to the label, sold this music. Now I want control to do what I really want to do. And after that, she became her own person, similar to Christina Aguilera. They said, look, we ain't doing all that cookie cutter stuff. We did what we had to do to show y'all, hey, we can do that. And we out like a sprout. You know what I'm talking about? And so after that, they gave them creative control. And then they really got to show who they really are. Now, many times they don't ask to be, role models per se. We usually give that title to people. And, that's on us. So when something happens, then you say, well, we look up to you. Well, hey, we didn't ask to do that. So we're not doing anything like that anyway. So, like I said, it is what it is. And sometimes people just, I don't know, that's just not them. They don't ask to be role models. We make that. And so as time, went on and she got older, of course, making her own decisions, the money's coming in, and then here's where the things start taking a turn. And they start bringing in this term of conservatorship. And basically having somebody control her finances and her estate. Now she has an estimated $60 million estate, however, but a $60 million estate that's being managed. Now, when you have that much money rolling in and out, it tends to corrupt a family. Corrupt families sometimes. In this case, it seems like the money was getting into it with her dad, Jamie, under the guise of, hey, I love my daughter very much. I want to make sure that she's controlled and stuff like that. And then you start hearing you start reading the case and stuff like that. And then what led up to basically Britney saying, look, F y'all, this is what I'm going to do. So the infamous time when she cut her hair, that was there. Just being defiant. She started off and had a great relationship with the paparazzi. And then all of a sudden now she's bashing it in with bashing their cars in with, her umbrella and stuff like that. And she just started doing things that was rebellious. It is what it is. I mean, you have this young lady that's been in the media. Obviously it's going to take a toll on you at one point. It starts off great and stuff, and then now it's just like too much. I mean, the amount of flashing, just from a health perspective, it's like you go get some type of epileptic seizures dealing with some of the flashes you can't see. That's why they're wearing sunglasses half the time. She was sitting in there in a restaurant trying to eat, and they are around her booth just flashing. I'm like, bruh, come on, man. Like, for real? But the other thing was they was getting paid bread for those photos. So that they were in there doing what they had to do. So they was going to be in there trying to take pictures at every moment. Her picking the spoon up. They want to get the saliva hanging off the mouth right, and the food dropped. They want to have it perfectly dropped, suspended in the air from between her chin and the plate, and they want to get that perfect still shot. I mean, really? And so, and then she got with Kevin Federline. She had a couple of children. Then she, that didn't work out, and she got with these other random people outside of Hollywood. I guess they were they said something about he was one of the dudes. I was like, what? I never knew about that. But one of the dudes was some type of young tycoon or some type of rich dude, whatever. But she was hanging out with, becoming a little socialite. She was hanging out with Paris Hilton and all that type of stuff, and just, I guess in our eyes, rebelling. But she was just growing up. I mean, people change and stuff, and then it just gets on her nerves. Some people just get tired of it after a while. So it is what it is. I mean, what else can you know what I'm saying? What else can you say? There's nothing else. What are you supposed to do? And so when that happened and she started doing these different things, and with the kids, the infamous thing where she driving with the baby on the lap. Now I know a lot of people used to do that, and they do that back in the times, and have the kids and stuff like that, but of course it's not safe. But she explained to where she was scared and said that I wanted to hurry up and get my baby out of there, so she did what she had to do, just grabbed the baby, boom, boom, and drove off, which I can understand that. But in this nanny state type U.S., sometimes it can get what they call the nanny state. People just be in your business, like, hey, what are you doing? But, it just didn't look right. And, hey, it is what it is. But this is where the problems started coming. Then all of a sudden, now her dad has full control over her estate. And all of a sudden, this Free Britney movement was birthed. And to the point where she even acknowledged it in one of the depositions that you can see online as public information. It was up there in the documentary because they pulled the public records of the court case, and it was highlighted that she was basically giving a shout out to the Free Britney And one of the things was, and there's actually a podcast that deciphers Britney's Instagram. It's two ladies. I forget the name of it, but you gotta check it out. If you go to the documentary, you can check it out to get their names. But they basically decipher her Instagram page. And now you can make something out of nothing. We all know that. But when you really start looking into something, you'll probably find something. So they saw her just sending all these cryptic type messages, and they was looking at her every becking move. Some of the stuff she puts up, like, people will put up quotes, and they do that all the time, is they just subliminal and they just say stuff because it's like a cry for help, but they got to disguise it for the people that's, that they're under control of. So there's, she was sending stuff, for instance, I don't know, free as a bird. Sometimes you got to keep pushing, stuff like, stuff like that. And I just thought that was like, wow. She really has a cry for help. And they asserted, see, one thing that society does is they want to call people crazy right off the bat. But that's not always the case. She's not crazy. Sometimes she just has, some people have a mental breakdown. They also mentioned postpartum depression. All those type of things would come into there. Some people are just crazy, but aren't we all a little crazy? Aren't we all a little bipolar? That's like human nature. So aren't we all like that? I would think so. But we all got a little something, or we up one day, down one day. But then there's people that really have it severely. And so I don't want to take away nothing from that. That's a very serious thing. Depression and anxiety, the things that people go through. Very, very serious things, nothing to joke around with at all. So I understand. Although I'm saying, hey, yeah, we all show symptoms of those things, but that's not to take away that there's people that really deal with that. And it's very serious. So I understand. I work in an industry that deals with that on a daily basis. So I understand that. So but they quit to call people crazy when sometimes it's just people, hey, look, I've had enough. Oh, you just have a nervous breakdown. I was like, look, just get out of my face. I'm done. And that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. But people just have to, understand that. And so the Free Britney movement comes along, and they are advocates with, just wanting to see her free, because here you are, they have the conservatorship, but then she's able to go out and perform. She had her residency in Las Vegas. She had, albums and stuff that came out. And you have Jamie, her father, who's controlling all the money legally. And so in the documentary, they just had a recent, she was filing against to get her estate back. And so the judge said she wasn't ruling anything at this time. So, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it a loss, but it's not a win either. It's kind of, and one of the Free Britneyers mentioned, hey, it's an open door that, hey, maybe in the future they could do that. Now, they allowed her to add a bank, which I think she was trying to get a bank to add on to take over, her estate as well, so that way she can have more control. But Jamie, her father, was still on there, even though he said he wanted to take a step back, but he's still in there controlling the money. Now it's been 12 years, and I could just give up that. 12 years of the good life. Now I understand it's the parents and stuff like that, but if she's really, truly to cry for help and stuff, then hey, something is going on. And, then her Instagram went dark, because now it's like everybody, as they mentioned in the documentary, everybody has to relearn about her. Like, now with this new social media, you can learn a lot about people because it's more intimate. You can actually reach out and talk and do all that type of stuff. And so she was like dormant for a couple of months, and then she popped up saying, hey, sometimes people just have to take time for themselves and stuff. And, it's good. And they have pictures of her frolicking in the backyard and the swimming pool with her kids and stuff, because she had lost custody of her kids. and because of her mental state at the time, so she wasn't even allowed to see them. Now that's a serious thing for a mother not to be able to see her children. You have birthed, held, nurtured this child for 9 months, and that, you know, and then you're not able to see the child, not even like supervise. I mean, come on, if you're afraid they're going to do something, at least to be supervised, they let her see the children. But I mean, you know, and we're only not outsiders looking in. We don't know. They did talk to her brother, and if they mentioned, like, does she have reason to believe, like, you know, is she crying for help or something? And asked him about, does he see anything that is weird? And he jokingly was like, yeah, of course, all the time. He's like, no, I'm just playing. So, you know, there's truth to every joke sometime, but, you know, I don't know. You know, he's not going to say anything. But you can tell that there's something going on, with that. And so, you know, I just hope that she gets the help that she needs. I hope that she's able to be free and in control of her own finances if she's able to do that. I mean, why not? And she was saying she wouldn't perform anymore unless she can get her control of her money. So obviously the judge keeps on allowing her to, you know, allow her father to be the conservator. I guess her case is not strong enough for her to get her own control of the state, of her estate, or, you know, so it looks like they're taking a step in the right direction. I mean, at least the bank, from what I understand, was added on there. The judge allowed that, so maybe in the future that she can dissolve her, father from being out there, being on it. And also they talked with some of the former lawyers. Now one of the lawyers asked for a raise and then quit. So something ain't right. And they was talking to a former lawyer, and he was kind of hinting around, saying that answering the question with a question, like a hypothetical type hint type, like, well, if she's doing this and that, what would you think? Type answers. So it leaves a lot to be open. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is at this point. I mean, we can just, you know, hope and pray, send positive vibes out to Britney to make sure that hopefully she's getting the best care, taken care of. And, you know, I hope the best for her. I hope that she's able to get back out. I tell you one thing, she get there, her next album, you know, if another album comes out, it's going to be very personal. It's going to be very good because she has a lot to talk about. I'm sure she's been writing, and behind the scenes probably got all kinds of stuff, from poems to, you know, haikus or whatever you want to call it, songs, everything. So I guarantee there's going to be something. So, you know, it is what it is this time, but I'm not going to be before you long. I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. This has been episode 5, where we just discussed real briefly the Free Britney. You guys, let me know what you guys want to talk about. I can even have some of you guys on. You just hit me up at info@hiswillofficial.com and let me know what you guys want to do. And if you want to come on with what topics you want to discuss, we'll set up a time and try to get everything set up and have you on. And I'll give you the floor, ask you some questions. You can ask me some questions and we can discuss and just have a good time. So y'all, like I always say, it's peace and more hair grease. You dig? Ooh-wee. And I'm out like a sprout. No doubt.
My healer, my provider, my comforter, you're all I need. For your love, Jesus died for you, paid the price for you, gave his life for you. For your love, Jesus died for you.